Hello, hello, you guys. It is March 3rd. A lot going on, right? We've got the blood moon happening in the States. Well, I'm sure it's everywhere, right? Everyone sees the same moon. Here we are. Apparently, it's about releasing and looking at things that we need to let go of. And I know we had let go in the story a lot, the days leading up till today. So I guess we all just have to be mindful and consider what can we let go of, whether it's stuff or emotional or maybe the need to control so much or poor behaviors. We want to go ahead and reflect on that. Let's get into our story. Our overall energy is the hover card. Someone's hovering. Someone's got their drone out. I'm so happy I can think of that word on call now. Someone has a love for their drone and they are going up and high and they are looking for something or someone. Maybe they're just bored and they're trying to entertain themselves by looking around. Maybe they're doing a little research or looking into their family DNA or perhaps their own DNA. It's always good to know who you are, where you came from. I'm thinking the ancestry sites. I found out I have some surprising ancestors. I'm super happy about it. Answer some questions that I had before about my curiosities, I guess. So that's exciting. In this card, let's see, is it a parent's DNA or is it just DNA in general? Every time I see that light, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. We do have the hospital where most babies are born, so it could be somebody's birthright is what I'm thinking. Could be their place of origin. We have the silver spoon, which would also indicate inheritance. We also have the hop, skip, and a jump, which would refer to someone's child. And we have the tiara, which is also like a princess. Princess, beauty queen. Do we have the beauty card out? No. Could have something to do with someone who is 54. But then we have the 9 down there. Is there an area code 549? I'm not sure. Zip code, I was thinking zip code. Might be part of a zip code or someone's license plate. Ooh, 5, 4 is 9. And then we have 9 here, learning the lesson. Maybe in this first row, they're making the change. And then in the next row, they're finding the stability in that change. And then down here at the very end, they're finally learning the lesson. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? This little solidus kind of looks like a 1, so it could be... Oh, we have the 1 here too. I didn't even see it, folks. Which would be a 5 and a 5 and then a 9. So someone learned the lesson, started a new cycle, and learned the lesson again. So we have 541, or we have a 9154, which could be a zip code. However it works for you. Consider, we have a number in every line. That's interesting. So we have the 5, which would be May 4th. Could also be April. It could be 1954. Maybe someone was born in 1954. How old would that make them today? That would be 60, 90, 96 today. Right? Or am I going way too far? I'm going way too far. 60. Can you believe this, folks? This is embarrassing. 40. 54. 64, 74, 84, 94. 14. 24. So they would be 62. 62 years old right now. You know, I'm as authentic as they come, very transparent. If I don't know something, I'm not going to act like I know something. I'll tell you I don't know. But I'll also tell you that if it's something like work related, I'll go find out. I don't ever like to leave something unfinished. So here we are. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 going in progression of things. You're like, can we just move on to the story now? But then we've got January 9th. Something could have occurred on January the 9th. This is interesting that we have numbers in each row. It reminds me of Sudoku. Maybe someone likes to play that Sudoku game. All right, starting our story, we've got the overall energy, as I was saying, the hover. Someone could be doing a hobby. Maybe they like to film the scenery. Maybe they're actually out there looking for their family or needs to go out and look for their family based on what their results were on the DNA. Maybe they found something out through a dream that they had. There could be some kind of ancestors that are holding back certain dreams, or there could be family members that are holding back somebody's certain dreams that they have. Dream catchers are in order to protect the sleeper from upsetting dreams. It catches the negativity so that the dreamer could go ahead and get a good night's sleep. And we do have the little warrior down here sleeping. She just go ahead and sleep, and she has no idea the battles that she's fighting as she sleeps. And that's probably because she has a dream catcher above her bed. I know I had a dream last night about my the manager, who was the manager when I was left on a LOA. Apparently she had met some guy and she was out on a vacation, or they went, on a holiday, or I guess it's a vacation, however you dress it up. And she went on a vacation, and the whole time she was gone, I thought she was on a vacation with someone that I knew. And they returned from their vacation, come to find out they had met at a Wendy's, not affiliated, at a Wendy's. I'm like trying to place, in the dream, I was trying to place which Wendy's could that have been. So this could have something to do with someone named Wendy, or someone could just like Wendy's food. And I guess this person's name was, I want to say his name was Steve, if I remember correctly. And he had a real low cut hair. So it wasn't bald, but it was like real buzz short. He was blonde. He had a slight mustache, but not really. It was very, it was buzzed like his hair. She said that they were going to go on another trip. I forgot where she said they were going. Because they wanted, she said, because so we can bond. As she was leaving, her daughter, her very small daughter, I think the daughter was like maybe 2 or 3, and then came running out of the room. I guess I must have been babysitting or watching the daughter for her while she was gone. And the baby was crying and like, Mom, and then I guess I don't remember. I got woken up. And as I woke up, I recalled which Wendy's location that probably was where she met this person. And I'm thinking at this point, it's like, why does it matter which location it was? Maybe it does matter. The Wendy's would be down there on La Paz and I believe it's Oso Parkway. I also remember getting in a car at some point. I don't know, but I kind of felt real sketchy about the individual at some point. I don't remember if it was in the beginning when she wasn't there or after I met the person. He just seemed he seemed a little bit uncomfortable, which is granted understandable if you're meeting people for the first time, maybe, but I don't know. If someone is ending up meeting someone at a Wendy's, then I guess just don't go in with your eyes closed. Just be mindful because we do have the karma card on the table. So we've got the karma card, which is smiling and laughing now, crying later, which indicates that someone has done something not so great. So now they're having to suffer the consequences or the karma of that. It could be about inflating someone's beginnings. It could be about seeing someone's beginnings in a higher perspective. That balloon is gold or golden shimmer. And it's rising from the hot air. We have the sunny side there, which is something yummy that we have in the mornings to start our day, full of nutrition. I think the eggs are the perfect protein. This one is the sunny side up, which means it's runny inside. So be mindful it doesn't get messy. We have the scribe here who is recording everything. Spiritual knowledge that is being transferred from one book to the next. They used to use scribes to copy over material that they didn't have a press for, a printing press. So things such as manuscripts, stories, books, the Bible, things of that nature were all rewritten by somebody who was a scribe and who was hired to do so. I just had the thought, like, what if someone was rewriting the Bible and copying it over for other people to read, and then they changed some of the stuff that was in it? Wouldn't that be something? I know that the Bible was decided by a group of people. I wanted to say men, but people. And they all decided which books would, this is all from my college course that I took on the life and times of Jesus Christ. Just saying, so I can speak on it. They were hired, or they all got together and they decided what books were going to be involved in the Bible. And they decided what books would not be in the Bible. And as we know with current news, that they found different books that were not in the Bible, but part of it, like Enoch, I believe, is one of them. And then I think there's another one. I think they may have omitted Sophia in there. I think they omitted I don't remember her name. Sorry. Oh, it was at the tip of my tongue. The one that was before Eve. Apparently there was a person in the garden before Eve was there. It's at the tip of my tongue and I can't figure it out. I'm sure I'll remember once we stop recording. And so that was probably omitted. And they also omitted the fact that JC was a normal, regular child who went through his own trials and tribulations. I mean, he had to understand what it was like to be human, right? And to have human tendencies and human experiences because he was human while he was walking the earth, from what I understand. And they omitted those parts of his childhood because they didn't want to mislead people and think that it was okay to be normal, right? So I believe that part was also omitted. I mean, if I recall, I don't believe that we had any stories about his childhood other than him being born in the book. So, like, I don't remember having any stories of his adolescence or anything like that. All of those pivotal years that kind of teach you what you want to be a part of and what you don't want to, like the things that you had to learn going through the karma and dharma of things, right? So, sometimes I wonder if maybe whoever was copying the book over was just like, hey, I'm just going to make this little tweak right here, which would be interesting. Sorry about that outside if you heard it. Now we have the scribe copying. So, and then the silver spoon, meaning that you come from a place of inheritance, wealth, privilege. Most people will look at someone who comes from a wealthy family as living a life of privilege, not realizing that, you know what? Sometimes they're not so privileged, especially in their own household. Psychologically speaking, it is normal for kids who are very controlled at home. They'll act out at school and in public places. But if they're very controlled at school and in public places, then they're usually a little bit of a nightmare at home because it's like you can't be perfect all the time as a child. You just can't. Lots of energy, lots of figuring things out, and lots of needing time to kind of, as I said, explore behaviors and have an outlet for that energy, especially if you're not into any hobbies or whatnot. There's going to be a little bit more energy to deal with. Anywho, that's a side note. On the other part of the not being so privileged, there could be parents who are involved who really want to teach their kids the value of money, and so they don't give the child money, or they don't provide every single thing that the child needs in excess. So you get the basics. You get like maybe a few outfits to wear. You know, we get the food in the house, enough that you feed you. If you don't want to eat what we're making, then you don't have to eat at all. Perhaps you don't use the air conditioner during the summer months because it's just, you know, why do you need to do that? So it could be things like that. With the 5 number there, that's the number of change, changing someone's childhood, or changing, maybe someone's changing the inheritance or changing the privilege. Maybe there was someone who had an inheritance as a child, and maybe that inheritance changed hands. It was meant to go to the child when the child became of certain age. Considering we were talking about normal child behavior, maybe there was some kind of clause in this inheritance that said this child had to be a certain way. They needed to show maturity, and they needed to show that they were able to handle such an inheritance. Maybe they had to have certain kind of knowledge and certain belief systems there, spiritually sound. Perhaps they couldn't have any raging karma that they were having to deal with or overcome. They couldn't have behaviors that would cause them to be sitting in a frying pan, so to speak. Maybe this person had all of these things growing up. Maybe they were a little unruly. Maybe they were making decisions that got them into kind of hot water. Maybe they were a little bit of a hothead. Again, they probably needed an outlet for whatever it was that they were going through and experiencing through their upbringing. Maybe just trying to balance the knowledge that they had, and they didn't know what to do with it because maybe they didn't have a leader or a mentor or someone to kind of guide them. They could have been left to their own understanding, or sheltered, or not instructed for whatever reason, kind of left to their own defenses. Maybe they were labeled as being up in the clouds, and someone had suggested, you really need to kind of ground this person. This person needs to be more down to earth. Could have been one of the suggestions, but maybe it was seen really early in age that this person had a light, and that could go with the whole needing to bring this person down to earth. In some cases, someone would say needs to be humbled at an adult age. Maybe this playful nature and this inheritance was brought to light by someone who was a mystic or a psychic or whatnot. I do have two of the cards to not speak, not say anything. I don't know if maybe it was this mystic person who was saying, don't say anything. I don't know if it's these people involved in the clubs that are saying not say anything, but this one is more of the, I knew the word, sketchy type of, like kind of, trying to scare someone into not saying anything. Again, the word will probably come later. Sinister. Thank you so much. Sinister. The other that I have is a little bit more like mainstream. So it's interesting that this shush came out, and maybe I should leave both of the shushes in the deck so that we can kind of say, is it kind of like a playful, shh, don't say anything? Or is it more of a sinister, you better not say something? Which is what I get with that one. It could be a message to people who are readers, not to say anything about these clubs. Maybe they are trying to scare people or intimidate people into not saying something. I mean, getting a hole-in-one is pretty intimidating, right? Especially with the shush underneath the frying pan. It's like, we're going to crack that egg open and put you in the frying pan. If someone who's a reader is going to bring some of these things to light. But the thing that I don't understand, and I don't think I'll ever understand, and I'm all right with that, is like, with all the people who are in that kind of lifestyle, when they try to get rid of evidence or delete the people who can speak on evidence or whatever else, when they get rid of or delete those people from saying something, the whistleblowers. Hey, I should probably have a whistle card. The whistleblowers. More and more people start talking after the fact. So it's like, now that person that you spoke about, or the one person that you got upset with because they were mentioning whatever it was that was going on, passed away for no reason. Not that it was a valid reason in the very beginning, but it's like, seriously? Seriously. That's what happens when people are dealing or coming from a dysfunctional ego. They seriously have it in their mind that they can control all things, and that it's like a God complex of sorts. And that's where the ego that is dysfunctional will trick you into thinking that you are able to manage and control these things, and discounting the fact that it's written that all things done in the dark will come to the light. It doesn't say some things done in the dark will come to the light. It says all things done in the dark will come to the light. So I don't know if maybe they were out of school on that lesson. I don't know if they are so dysfunctional in their thought process that they thought it didn't apply to them, or what that's about. But just to alleviate somebody's karma, I guess, I would take heed to that, because if you're hearing it now, and this is for whomever that might be, who might be watching the videos, if you're hearing the information, it means that there's a reason why you're hearing the information. It's like it's like an opportunity to change your ways or your thought processes, because the Almighty Creator is giving you that opportunity in order to change your life and change your ways, because He would like to welcome you into His family. I mean, there's all sorts of people who are in the great book of all time that were part of His family who did not have the greatest upbringing or make the greatest choices. So what I'm saying is that there's still hope. As long as you're alive, there's still hope for eternal life and not being a place of fire. And okay. Anywho, so we've got the shush thing, don't say anything, and it could even be the dysfunctional, the one that lives in the dysfunctional thought processes, that helps guide these people to these places of dysfunctional thought processes, who could be saying, don't say anything, and they could be trying to threaten with their little flying monkeys. Don't say anything. You cannot take these people from my club, or you're going to need some kind of help here. So we got to be mindful. I just reposted something on Facebook yesterday about the different levels of angels that exist. Biblically speaking, they're in there. There are stories about them. They are being spoken about. It's not like they just all of a sudden disappear, the seen and unseen. They're always in existence. They're always there. They're always around. And just because you can't see them doesn't mean that they don't exist. So in knowing that we've got different kinds of angels, like our guardian angels, our earth angels, and then our falling angels, we need to be mindful of the fact that they are in human form. Just saying. So those fallen angels could be in clubs. They could definitely be in different roles that are meant to serve and protect, whichever side that they're working for. That's their business. I have no idea if a fallen angel is able to cross over and become an angel of peace or of positivity. I don't know that information. But I'm sure if it's a person, if it's an angel, a fallen angel that's in a human form, I'm sure they could probably fight that and make it so. Going back to these clubs, this is people who are in part of a club. They're in a fraternity. Perhaps they joined a country club, so they would be of elite status. They could even be playing kiddie golf, child games, childish games at the putt-putt. They think they're playing a big game, but they're actually playing putt-putt golf. Whomever is in these clubs, they're calling out for help. They need help. They need a doctor. They need psychological evaluation and assistance. Again, It's dysfunctional to be in a place of wanting to harm another person, because that is not the way we're created. The first fallen angel was not created to be the type of person or angel to think negatively and cause harm on other people. The intention was, everyone, let's live all life together. Let's be happy family. But somebody got upset and mad and didn't have the tools to deal with the way that they were feeling. And then thus they became a fallen angel when they could have just worked it out. But instead they wanted to go towards jealousy and anger and hatred. And they wanted to hold on to that because their ego became dysfunctional. But that was not their state when they first arrived. So in knowing that, perhaps people who are treading on these lands of being that dysfunctional nature may want to heal themselves, because you're able to do that. You still have the free will to do that, to heal yourself so you can be part of what is normal and what is healthy. It is a choice, right? So we've got these clubs, and they could even be using certain readers online or on YouTube to spread the scare tactics, trying to hush other people up, trying to scare people into silence. So be mindful of who you are watching. If you do click on someone's video, you have given them permission for them to enter your energy. So you want to be mindful of what readers you are watching. But your discernment will tell you what's good for you. I could have just opened Pandora's box there with things, but that's all right, because I know who my Father is. And I wouldn't be guided to say something if I wouldn't say something if I wasn't guided to say it. I know a lot of times I'll say something, I'm like, wait, why did I even say that? And it's like, well, because you were meant to say it for whatever reason, and I'm just going to trust that. Okay, so going back to the clubs. We've only gotten to the second level here, and we're 30 minutes in. We've got our clubs here, fraternities, as I said, groups, elites, people who have meetings at the golf course. So people could be having meetings about maybe whatever it is that they're going to do next. Maybe they're in a state of alarm and panic or whatnot. They could have stopped doing something, but they continued on. They kept doing whatever it was that they were doing towards this person, towards this earth angel. It's also my Virgo card. Do I have any other astrological signs on the table? No, I do not, except for the fire signs. We do have fire signs on the table. I'm looking for earth, I'm looking for water, and we could have an air sign with the hot air balloon. Okay, so there's an earth angel. Maybe they were trying to send this earth angel to the hospital. Maybe they had sent this earth angel to the hospital. Magnetic to detox. Maybe this earth angel even had to go have an MRI or a CT scan. Maybe there is I was going to say a doctor, but I don't see a professional card on here. I did do a card as far as like a doctor's cap that they wear in surgery, but I don't think I put it in the deck. And I don't think I thought I needed to put it in the deck because I did have the professional card. And I like, well, if it comes up after hospital or near hospital, then it means it's a professional at the hospital. So I was trying to kind of pare down some of these cards because I think there's like a lot. I did pencil in the hospital card last night because I was like, that's the only card that doesn't have the penciling on there, but it was empty. Interesting thought. Maybe part of the reason why they wanted this person to be quiet is because they were emptying the hospitals and they were trying to attract people more towards the detox life than to be sick. Interesting, interesting. Because if people are in a state of panic, then it lowers their resistance to things and then you end up getting sick because of all the stress that you're causing. And we were talking about the mentally unstable, the dysfunctional ego running the show in their life. And if that was the case, the hospitals would be empty if people weren't in that state of mind harming others. There would be no money for the hospitals. Interesting. But as you can see, we always have need for a hospital. You can guarantee that. We'll always need a hospital, so it's okay if some people become well. So we're attracting this whole detox lifestyle, right? With the finish and the completion card, that's very interesting because of maybe someone's no longer sick because they did detox from all of this. Maybe they're no longer sick because all that is finished, because they've learned how to kind of handle all of the things that they are attracting. Maybe this person attracts the people who are sick in some kind of way in order to help them process through it and detox them, whether it's through just their energy or through their gift of just knowing or their gift of knowledge to be able to share this information with others. It helps other people function better because they're able to detox from their past. So there is something that is finished, completed. The competition is over. The need to constantly fight against or fighting. I'm saying fighting against as far as like your competition is starting at 1. It's starting at the very beginning, a new cycle. Now, because this person is starting in the beginning with a new cycle, they've got their straitjacket on and they're in a pickle. They're bound. They're not able to harm themselves or anyone else. And someone's in a pickle because of that. They've changed form. We have the tiara there, who is a queen, yes. Royalty, yes. And then with the silver spoon, maybe this person is actually royalty. Trying to shrink this person down a size. Maybe they're driving themselves kind of mentally ill because they're trying to shrink someone down a size or 5. Carriage, celebrate, makeup, camera, next in line, Cinderella. So someone could be next in line for something, maybe next in line for learning a lesson about someone who is a warrior, who keeps getting up, who doesn't listen to this whole network of stuff, or they don't really kind of pay any mind. They distract themselves from this network or the computer or whatever they see online. Continually giving grace for the traps that are always set up. This is a life cycle. This person has a really keen understanding about the life cycle, has a great understanding about the traps that are out there. They're mindful of the spiritual gift of forgiveness for the life cycle and the traps that might be out there. We do have the light card up there, and then we have the web, so it could have something to with illuminating the dark web. Since we do have the network card or the web address on the other side of the web, we've got two webs here surrounding this grace card, with the driving them to a dysfunctional place above it. Someone who was cold-hearted over there, or stuck, or bound. I mean, because ice is bound within its tray, and then we've got bound up here. Could be thawing out with that fire. It is a balance with the fire and ice. Maybe someone was very cold and now they have some kind of feeling or purification that's happened. Regarding a princess of sorts that was someone was trying to humble and to bind. Maybe it's a whole new process that's going to happen again, and the princess or the warrior is going to go, look, it's a princess warrior who's learned their lesson, so they're getting better at what it is that they were designed to do. Not paying attention to the evilness online. And giving them grace even though they continue to try to trap someone. They're trying to turn this angel, this earth angel warrior into ice. But the fire is raging. The fire is much bigger than ice. And it evaporates the water. And it's sitting right underneath that DNA card. And the Dreamcatcher card. Going through all these trials and tribulations, and it's purifying their DNA. It's purifying their dream state. You can't freeze out what is up above. You can't freeze out what their DNA is calling them to do. The light always wins. Sorry to spoil the end of the story for you, but the light always wins. With that being said, make it a great day, and we will talk in a minute.